ancient Egypt and the Acropolis in Greece. Well, it's a bit confusing there. This is Jean-Michel Jarret, who did this ceremony for the pyramids, and we've seen much more of him than we've seen of the pyramids. George Stephanopoulos, another word from you about Greece and Greek American and the New World and the new century?
Well, what I'm thinking about now as we watch it looks like the Acropolis on fire is how the experience of Greek Americans and Italian Americans who came here at the beginning of the century is now being replicated here in America by Dominicans, by people from the East Indies, from these new immigrants are now going along the same path that many of us went through at the beginning of the century, and they're in for an adventure.
And now let's go to Bethlehem again. The Palestinian West Bank town of Bethlehem, the site of the Nativity of Jesus, according to the Gospels. Some people actually hold that he was born in Nazareth. A discussion to be taken up at some other point, of course, but for tonight, this is where the Palestinian Authority wanted the world to be focused on this particular night. Bill Blakemore is there.
Yes, Peter, this has been a night they've been waiting for a long time. They've spent a lot of money to get Bethlehem ready for this particular event. Many people here in the square holding up candles, a scene of enormous hope and pandemonium at the same time, very much like the Middle East. Many of those pea stubs a little confused, no doubt, flying in among all of those bursting shells and beautiful colors in the air. But the year 2000 is supposed to be a year of great peacemaking here in the Middle East, with the Israelis, Syrians, and Palestinians all in different peace negotiations. And there is some hope here that by the time this millennium year is over, it will be, as one Israeli said, a very different Middle East, with the Arab-Israeli conflict well towards being something in the past.
To Greece again. Well, a visit to any of these places, under almost any circumstances, is an awe-inspiring experience. Hard to see the pyramids, which is kind of sad. Wonderful to see the Acropolis because they have made it so easy, and because, as Greeks have historically made it very much the centerpiece of the way we look at them. As George Stephanopoulos said earlier, the seat of democracy. And Bethlehem, which for millions of Christians down through the ages has been a point of pilgrimage, and now is where Palestinian Authority is in charge, after having been occupied for so long by the Israelis, now controlled by the Palestinians themselves. Millennium coverage is going to continue because we're about, we've been here for about 12 hours. We're halfway across the world. We still have America to come. There's the big news of the day. Boris Yeltsin early this morning giving up the presidency of Russia to Vladimir Putin. But the great news of the day, the big news of the day has been everywhere, the celebration of a new century. Our coverage will continue.
ABC 2000 from around the world will continue in a moment.
Glitch today because of the storm, and we don't have the countdown, but still it's magnificent. That's the Champs-Élysées, and there are Ferris wheels there that at midnight are going to look as if they're rolling down the street, 11 of them, all different decorations. It's a very exciting night here and a beautiful night.
Thanks,
Peter?
Barbara. It's fascinating to see all those people on the Champs-Élysées. Somebody did a study of the 20 most famous streets in the world, and clearly it was the Champs-Élysées in part, the liberation of France, when the Allies marched down there, and at the beginning of the war when the Nazis marched down there. Let's go to Vatican City, too. Cokie Roberts, we all thought that the Vatican was going to be overwhelmed by people. How big has the crowd been?
Well, the crowd in the square is now about 50,000 people, which is all it holds. But they're from all over the world, Peter, and it's appropriate that it's the next midnight after Bethlehem. We've just had runners trace the route of St. Paul from the Holy Land to Rome, light a torch in front of St. Peter's, and all of the crowd now has candles in their hands. You can see flags from all over the world, and they're just waiting now for the Pope to come out into his window and give his speech to the city and the world. Just a quick little blessing at midnight tonight. But this is a very, very both excited but also a holy crowd. It's a crowd of pilgrims, and they are feeling that part very strongly.
Cokie, thank you very much. We'll be back to you in just a couple of minutes, but take a look at Berlin. Here we are at the very heart of Europe. Here, the Brandenburg Gate. Some of us grew up when there was a wall along that very place. Far side was East Germany. This was West Berlin. In 1989, when the wall came down, many people think the century actually came to an end, or at least the new century actually began with the end of the competition between communism and when democracy prevailed. And we'll go back to Berlin in just a minute as well. Our ABC 2000 Millennium coverage will continue right after this.
Stay with us as the event of the century continues. Still ahead, performances from Elton John, Billy Joel, Enrique Iglesias, and more. Plus, magic from David Blaine, live in our Times Square studio. And Y2K updates. ABC 2000, 24 incredible hours continues.
America Online introduces new version 5.0.
The easiest just got easier. You've got mail, you've got pictures.
Instant messages. Customer service is always there to help.
If I knew it was this easy, I would have started a long time ago.
America Online. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1. Something new is here. A whole new way to take care of heartburn. Introducing Pepsid AC gel caps. Just one gel cap controls as much acid as a whole roll of Tums. An idea that's very easy to swallow. New Pepsid AC gel caps.
What color are your teeth? Arm & Hammer Advanced White Toothpaste whitens your teeth with just one tube. Our whitening guide proves you can go from here to here. Arm & Hammer, whiter teeth, one tube, guaranteed.
Cellular One, clear across America.
Hey.
This is for those ready to hit the road.
Hit the road. This is for a tough world.
This is for those looking for a solid experience.
This is excitement. Well built.
This is for right now. Right now.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement and lease a Grand Am SE for as low as $209 a month for 36 months. Call for important lease details.
This is for me.
For me. For me.
Hit the road for Pontiac driving excitement.
This is for me.
Who's our director and has been here with us since early this morning. We have a shot of the control room, please, because we are faced with something of a challenge now. It's going to be midnight all across Western Europe now. We want to help you celebrate it in Paris and in London and in Rome, and we want to celebrate it in Poland, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic, and Italy, and Norway, and Sweden, and all those places. And that is almost impossible to do without just hanging on with the International Television Consortium. Every one of those little squares in that room represents some place in the world with which we are trying to make a connection today. And I must say we've been pretty successful for most of the day. But it does reflect, as we embark on this great sweep of midnights across Western and for parts of Central and Eastern Europe as well, what a technological age we live in and what a challenge this has been for the day. I don't say that, thanks Roger, in any self-aggrandizing way for anybody, but everybody's done a great job and we're very pleased. Let's go to Paris. Let's just listen to Paris for a moment.
Well, Peter, what you are hearing is the sounds of people in the street, thousands and thousands of people cheering as the Eiffel Tower is about to be lit with 20,000 different bulbs. People have been lined up there almost as long as they have been in Times Square waiting for it. And now that's a shot of the Champs-Élysées. All of the trees are lit. Ferris wheels just made for tonight. All of the bridges, 35 bridges that connect to the left and the right bank are lit. And now, supposedly this is the countdown to the lighting of the most famous landmark in all of Europe, the Eiffel Tower.
Some things, of course, haven't changed, Robert, right? I was reading the other day that the population of Paris in 1900 was about 2 million people, and the population today is still only a little over 2 million people in Paris itself. And it is a city that has seen such incredible history. You and I were talking the other day about the rebellion on the home front during World War II and the invasion of the Nazis.
Here we go.
Now ready?
Here we go, Peter. 20,000 lights from the base of the Eiffel Tower going up 1,000 feet to the top. And in about 2 minutes, the fireworks will start. Those lights are supposed to be climbing up.
Paris. Nobody's done it like that today. And there is Vatican City. Cokie Roberts.
Well, Peter's standing now at his window with the fireworks going off all around him. Is the tiny figure of the Pope, and the crowd here in the St. Peter's Square, as you can hear, very excited to see him there, and also excited that there are fireworks going off all around. But you know, I've been struck. There's the Pope. I've been struck, Peter, in all this today, especially coming from Bethlehem, that this idea of 2,000 years ago, the birth of Jesus, being celebrated still, and being celebrated in all these places you've gone to. The Catholic Church alone now, is 1 billion people, has most of them living in Asia, South America, and Africa, 2/3 of them. So it is an idea that is spread around the globe for 2,000 years.
These are probably the most spectacular fireworks that we have seen because they have all been choreographed, all different colors, and at the end it's going to be pure white. Now you can see. They spent 3 years planning this.
Now let's go to Berlin. And we'll keep an eye on the Vatican to make sure that we hear the Pope. The Brandenburg Gate in a unified Berlin. For the first time since the end of World War II.
Sul quadrante della storia scocca un'ora importante. Inizia in questo momento l'anno 2000.
Roy, his name in Polish.
L'anno che si introduce in un nuovo millennio. Per i credenti è l'anno del grande giubileo. Buon anno a tutti voi.
It was so important to this Pope to make it to the millennium. He's 79 years old. He was elected the Bishop of Rome in 1978. And somewhere in our system, I think we have an interpreter who will translate and pass on his Italian.
Nel varcare la soglia del nuovo anno, mi piacerebbe bussare alla porta delle vostre case per recare a ciascuno il mio augurio cordiale.
We'll come back to the Pope as soon as we can translate him. I apologize to all of those of you in the audience who speak Italian naturally. And undoubtedly, knowing Pope John Paul II, he will talk in several languages before he has finished giving his blessing and his wishes for the new millennium. And we're back in Paris, where the French have, Barbara Walters, absolutely outdone themselves. To think they were going to tear this tower down in 1909.
Can you imagine? And they only left it because it had a radio aerial. Well, what you can see now are the sparkles of those 20,000 lights that mountain climbers literally had to climb and put up there. There is now a beacon that's going to, you can see it now, that's going to be going all through the year 2000, all of those lights sparkling. And the Eiffel Tower finally did it. This is the most famous landmark in Europe, and 4 billion people, they tell us, will be watching this all over the world. It was something. That's the beacon at the top, 1,000 feet high. Can you hear the people? There are probably as many as in Times Square shouting and watching this magnificent spectacle.
And back to Vatican City. To ponder, as I'm sure Kofi Roberts will elaborate on this man who has been so important to the latter part of this century. Kofi, I went back with him on his first official trip to Poland. He looks so frail now, and as I said earlier, he was so determined to make it here.
And he made it, and he is still determined to make it to the Holy Land in March, and to make it as many places as he can throughout this Jubilee year. He does rally, Peter, for events like this, and what he's doing now is offering prayerful good wishes to the people of the world. It's really a New Year's wish. Now he's singing the song of the very long-standing of wishing. It's a Gregorian chant of wishing you the blessing in the Latin. But his message has essentially just been a message of good, happy New Year's wishes, saying Christ yesterday, today, and forever. To him belong time and the ages. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. And as you can see, this crowd has waited for him happily. He's standing and continued to greet them as they wave these torches, torches that were lit from the Holy Land, and now singing hymns. So it's not the exuberance of Paris, but it is a commemoration of what this 2,000 years is all about.
Certainly on the Christian calendar, without question. We've seen him sapped of his energy down through the years, but here in front of St. Peter's Square and St. Peter's Basilica, the premier church of Roman Catholic Christendom, named for his disciple Peter, who was also the first pope, we see, as Koki says, the great commemoration of why much of the world is celebrating this millennium this evening.
Peter, you know, this spot where St. Peter's has been a place of worship since well before Christianity. It's one of those spots that human beings have congregated on and worshiped deities from time out of mind. And it seems to continue to attract people in that way, that as a sacred spot throughout the generations.
Thank you, Koki. That's the Pope and the Papal Apartments. Now let's go back to Paris for their grand finale of their midnight celebration.
It started at the bottom and then just kept enveloping it in all different colors. Probably the most spectacular fireworks we've seen yet. And then the whole of the Eiffel Tower was lit by 20,000 bulbs and Christmas lights, so that the entire city is reflected in this glorious landmark. And you know, Peter, this is a great night for Paris. As you pointed out earlier, they've had some very difficult times, occupied by the Germans. 2 world wars fought in this country, and now it is a very happy and exciting time. On the Champs-Élysées, which is closed off to cars, there are Ferris wheels that are running for the first time, 11 of them, each one with a different scene, from acrobats to internet to performers. All of the trees are lit, all of the bridges are lit, Peter. It is a city absolutely ablaze, and if we sound excited, it's because it's just been, in terms of a celebration, something glorious to see. Paris outdid itself.
Thanks, Barbara. I apologize for interrupting. We could not complete this midnight without going to Madrid, which isn't perhaps quite the city with a sense of drama that Paris and Rome has too, but at the Puerta del Sol, in the very center of the old city, the official celebration of midnight in Madrid. In the Plaza Mayor, thousands of Spaniards have come together to remind themselves of where they have been in this century. And they've been a lot of places and made a fabulously great number of contributions to history. And they now, and we'll talk to them before the evening is over, will wish to share their wishes for the new millennium as well. Our coverage of ABC 2000's Millennium around the world will continue in just a moment.